I have dedicated my life to this struggle of the African people.
Nelson Mandela net worth. Welcome, Billionaire Life Seekers. Today we're looking at one of the greatest politicians of all time, Nelson Mandela. Watch till the end for a bonus fact. Let's jump right in. Nelson Mandela was a South African political activist, anti-apartheid revolutionary, politician, and philanthropist who had a net worth of $1 million at the time of his death in December of 2013. He left an estate that was provisionally valued at 46 M Rand, $4.13 million, or 2.53 million euro. Nelson Mandela wealth details. The majority of Mandela's net worth came in the form of book royalties from his best-selling autobiography, 1994's Long Walk to Freedom. When his health was better, Nelson was also a semi-active public speaker. When he was president, Mandela slashed his salary and then on top of that gave 1/3 of his pay to South African children's charities. Towards the end of his life, Mandela's family waged a fairly bitter war over his wealth. Nelson was married 3 times and had 6 children, only 3 of whom were still living at the time of his death. Nelson placed the majority of his wealth into more than a dozen different trust funds that would simultaneously benefit his children and prevent them from further bickering. Because of these trusts, Nelson himself was not an extraordinary wealthy man at the time of his death. A longtime friend and lawyer named George Bezos declared in April 2013, "If anyone suggests he's a multimillionaire, they're wrong. He's not a rich man. He has a couple of trusts for his children and grandchildren. His earnings are technically nil, other than the goodwill of people inside and outside South Africa who helped with the education of the children. He has always insisted that money donated should be used for building schools and hospitals." The will. The will. Who gets what? Nelson Mandela left money in his will to children and grandchildren staff in the African National Congress, ANC, but gave nothing to his ex-wife, Winnie Madikizela Mandela. The family of South Africa's first Black president gathered behind closed doors at his foundation in Johannesburg to hear the reading of the will, which carves up an estate estimated at 46 M Rand, or 2.52 million euro. The most conspicuous omission was Madikizela Mandela, his wife of 38 years during the struggle against racial apartheid. They divorced in 1996 but became close again towards the end of his life, along with his third wife, Graça Machel. She was at his bedside when he died. It emerged that the former president's daughters, each given $300,000 or 184,000 euros by him during his lifetime, get no further money now. But Michelle's children and 6 stepchildren, as well as 9 of his staff, all share in his inheritance. Number 1, he lived up to his name. Mandela's birth name was Rolihlahla. In his Hosi tribe, the name means pulling the branch of a tree or troublemaker. The name Nelson was given to him by a teacher on his first day of elementary school. It's not clear why she chose that particular name. It was the 1920s, and African children were given English names so colonial masters could pronounce them easily. Number 2, he had a cameo in Spike Lee's film. He had a part in Spike Lee's 1992 biopic, Malcolm X. At the very end of the movie, he plays a teacher reciting Malcolm X's favorite speech to a room full of Soweto school children. But the pacifist Mandela wouldn't say, by any means necessary. So Lee cut back to the footage of Malcolm X to close out the film. Number 3, there's a woodpecker named after him. From Cape Town to California, streets named after Mandela abound. But he's also been the subject of some rather unusual tributes. Scientists have named a prehistoric woodpecker after him, Australopithecus Nelson Mandela. In 1973, the Physics Institute of Leeds University named a nuclear particle the Mandela particle. Number 4, he married a first lady. Before tying the knot with Mandela on his 80th birthday, Graça Machel was married to Mozambique President Samora Machel. Her marriage to Mandela after her husband's death means she has been the first lady of 2 nations. Number 5, he drew his inspiration from a poem. While he was in prison, Mandela would read William Ernest Henley's Invictus to fellow prisoners. The poem about never giving up resonated with Mandela for its lines, "I am the master of my fate. I am the captain of my soul." You may know it from the movie by the same name starring Morgan Freeman as Mandela. Gold castings of Mandela's hands. Gold castings of the hands of South Africa's first Black president, Nelson Mandela, have been sold for $10 million, or 7 million euro, in Bitcoin. Canadian cryptocurrency exchange from Arbitrade bought 4 casts from South African businessman Malcolm Duncan. The firm said it planned to launch a global Golden Hands of Nelson Mandela tour to educate young people about the anti-apartheid icon's life. This is the first time artifacts of Mr. Mandela have been sold in Bitcoin. Mr. Mandela was jailed for 27 years for fighting white minority rule in South Africa. He was released in 1990 and served as president from 1994 to 1999. Mr. Mandela died in 2013 at the age of 95. He had turned into a global brand with businessmen and artists cashing in on his name. Mr. Duncan, who now lives in Canada, bought the casts from mining group Harmony Gold in 2002 for about $31,000. Half of the money paid to Harmony Gold was meant to go to a charity, but it remains unclear as to whether that happened, Bloomberg News Agency reports. Harmony said it had supplied Mr. Duncan with the necessary paperwork verifying the provenance as requested by his attorneys, but declined to comment on what happened to the donation, Bloomberg reports. Mr. Mandela spent 18 of his 27 years in prison on Robben Island. The casts, which weigh around 20 pounds or 9 kilograms, include Mr. Mandela's hand, palm, and fist. They are part of a collection meant to mark the years the former president spent in prison on Robben Island. The artifacts are believed to be the only ones left in the world. Nelson Mandela's cars. Nelson Mandela was one of the most recognized names on the planet before his death on the 5th of December 2013. To billions of people around the world, he represented a popular struggle. The legendary Mandela spent 27 years in prison after he was convicted of treason against the then apartheid regime of South Africa. The former president of South Africa loved cars. However, after his release from prison, he had more important things to do than pursue a passion for the automotive. That did not mean that he did not ride in style, though. Here, we will be highlighting some famous cars used by one of the greatest humans that ever lived, Nelson Mandela. Toyota Cressida. One of the most famous cars associated with the Madiba is a Toyota Cressida. The former South African president Nelson Mandela and his then-wife Winnie were driven in the silver Toyota Cressida shortly after his release from Victor Verster prison on February 11, 1990. Mercedes-Benz 600. This luxury car was a favorite among top politicians. The car was allegedly sold after that at book value. That means someone likely acquired the piece of automotive history and doesn't even know its worth. In November 2019, 30 years later, a Lesotho man claimed that the Toyota Cressida was under his ownership. Mercedes-Benz W126 S-Class. Shortly following the release after 26 years imprisonment, Nelson Mandela received a special gift from Mercedes-Benz plant workers. See also 5 presidents that were assassinated in their cars. The gift came in the form of a red Mercedes-Benz W126 S-Class. As Nelson Mandela was being released in the 1990s, South Africa was also one of the few global production hubs for the S-Class. Workers at the manufacturing plant built it with pride, with parts donated by Mercedes-Benz. Apparently, Mandela said the color of the vehicle would be a reminder of the blood spilt by South Africans in the battle. The car now stands at the Apartheid Museum in Johannesburg. The 500 SC they assembled was rumored to be the best of its type ever built at Mercedes-Benz factory. This car was handed over to Madiba on July 22, 1990. BMW 760 Li. Madiba had a number of BMWs during his presidential term. He was one of the most important people on the planet for a decade or so. It was therefore expected that he should need protection, and that is where the navy blue BMW 760 Li Security Edition came in. It was one of several BMW gifts from the BMW South Africa. See also Samuel Ladoke Akintola, the first man to own a bulletproof car in Nigeria. Mandela was escorted around in his bulletproof V12 Monster between 2004 and 2009, while he was involved in an HIV/AIDS campaign. The armored 7 Series BMW came complete with bullet-resistant windows and bodywork. It also had its own oxygen supply, run-flat tires, and gun port through which his bodyguards could stick 2 machine guns, stored in a little compartment above the sun visors, and literally blast any attackers to kingdom come. At the end of his working life, the president's office returned the car to BMW South Africa. BMW restored the car in a joint venture. It took about a year to refurbish the car, which had 50,000 kilometers on the clock. After its restoration, it was put on display at the Franschhoek Motor Museum. Bonus fact. You've stuck with us all the way to the end and reached a well-deserved bonus fact. Nelson Mandela was a master of disguise. When Mandela was eluding authorities during his fight against apartheid, he disguised himself in various ways, including as a chauffeur. The press nicknamed him the Black Pimpernel because of his police evasion tactics. I became a creature of the night. I would keep to my hideout during the day and would emerge to do my work when it became dark, he says in his biography, Long Walk to Freedom. Nelson Mandela is an inspiration to countless folks around the world. Who inspires you? Let us know in the comments. That's it for today. If you'd like watching more content like this, feel free to like, subscribe, and hit the bell icon for the latest updates from Billionaire Life. Signing off for now. See ya.